The LA Clippers play the Los Angeles Lakers on Wednesday night in what's a huge game, both for the standings and for their pride. The last LA Clippers home game against the Lakers at the Staples Center. It's going to be a big one. Going to be talking about the latest news heading into the game, previewing the game and how it could go based on our matchups this season, and talking about how important it is that this is the final game the Clippers are going to host against the Lakers at this arena. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in the great city of LA and in my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Or I want you to give me your score prediction for this game. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Go place your bets. Why not a money line bet for the Clippers in this game? I have a pretty good feeling we're going to win it. But you know what? My nerves are a little bit higher with the news that came out yesterday that Paul George is going to miss his second straight game. Now, why does that concern me? Well, if you think about Paul George recently, he's been in a real slump. He has been injured with that groin injury, and people are wondering, is that why he isn't playing well? Or is it just the regular Paul George slump where he'll take a lot of tough shots, he'll be very inefficient for a couple of games, and then he'll come back around and have a heater in a few games? I don't know. You know, it's tough with PG because he makes a lot of the same mistakes when he's healthy as he does when he's injured. Careless turnovers, over dribbling and scoring too hard for him, settling for a lot of jump shots, not getting to the rim, not catching the ball closer to the basket. These things happen when he's healthy, so it's really hard for me to say if he's injured or not. But he's clearly injured right now when he's missing 2 games in a row. When I came on here 2 episodes ago, I said, hopefully Paul George missing this game against Sacramento with knee soreness is just precautionary. It's just his second game of the season where he's been load managed, because he was load managed against the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, and that was totally fine. We got the job done and everything, like that. There was no issue. But this is now going to be 2 games in a row that he's going to be out, which concerns me a bit, because now I know it probably is a real injury. And I'm hoping it's the same one and not a different one. But some people think it's just rest, just extended rest. But here's what I have to say about that. It's just a tough argument to make, because for example, they posted Paul George shooting around, but shooting around is not the same as going full speed. The positive to that is at least he is shooting around. At least it's not a situation where he has a boot on or he's limping or anything like that. If he's getting shots up in Playa Vista at the facility, that's good. That means his return is not too far out. But if we have to play without Paul George for a couple of games, some fans are like, that's okay. Let him sit till he gets right because we need him for the playoffs. Here's what I have to say to that. We need a top 3 seed for the playoffs. And if we don't get it, we're not winning the championship. I'm very adamant about this stance. Now, you can disagree. You can. But history says that I'm right. Now, there could be a situation where you come back at me and say, well, history also said that no team ever came back from a 3-1 lead in the finals or a 3-1 deficit in the finals, and various other times where history has been made. And to that, I say you're right. I just don't believe this Clipper team is the one, or any Clipper team is the one that's going to join the 69 Celtics and the 95 Houston Rockets as a team that wins the championship below the 3. I just don't think we're going to be that one of those teams. Why? Maybe it's just a Clipper fan that's been heartbroken in me, but I really believe to ensure a chance, a real title chance, and I don't mean getting to the finals. I mean winning it. Because everybody always uses these really stupid rebuttals against me. Like, what about the Lakers last year, the Heat last year? And I ask you the same question. Did they win? It's not about getting there. It's about winning the whole thing, being the last team standing, being the best team in the world for that year. And to do that, I think you got to be a top 3 seed. Now, here's why. I had some people comment on my tweet on Tuesday saying, does it really matter if you get 3 or 4? You know, it's going to be a tough matchup either way. The 6 seed could be Dallas and the 5 seed could be Phoenix. So are you really? And here's what I'm saying to that. It's not about that. In the Western Conference, over my lifetime, you're going to have a tough matchup in every round. Now, the only way to really ensure that you have an easier matchup is by finishing 1 or 2. Because 6 and 5, those teams are usually pretty damn good. As Clipper fans know very well. We played San Antonio one year. We got a 3 seed. And then Golden State the previous year. And those were dogfights. So if we can get 1 or 2, that would be huge, right? This is why I think 4 seeds don't win chips. Because the 4 seed in the first round has to play the 5. So that series is usually at least 6 games. At least. Almost all the time. That takes a lot out of you. And then what your reward is you're playing the 1 seed in the next round. So let's say you win that. These is now you've beat a 4-5 seed and you've beaten a 1 seed. Now you're waiting for a team that if they're the 2 or the 3, they're going to have home court advantage against you. Now you are playing 3 series essentially if you go to the finals where you don't have home court after playing a 4 seed in the first round or a 5 seed in the first round. That's very hard. There's a reason why those teams don't win. That's a lot. It's a lot to handle. So I don't want to play the Suns or the Mavs first round, but if it means getting the 3 versus the 4, I like it because look at this year's bracket. We don't know who's going to finish first. And obviously Oklahoma City finishing first is more ideal for us. But the Minnesota Timberwolves finishing first, that is not an ideal second round matchup at all. It's not ideal whatsoever. So, I mean, we just got to go as far as we can, as high as we can. And if we finish 4th, then I think that we're cooked. We got to get top 3. And we can't afford to load manage if the guys can play. If the guys can play, they got to. Now, what's more important, seeding or getting there healthy? Of course, getting there healthy. But again, I stand by my stance. I stand by my stance. I don't think we need to kill ourselves to get it. But if this team fails to get a top 3 seed, even after everything's gone right this season, that tells me that this, even with 3 stars, we couldn't do it. That tells me that I don't know if this team is built to finish top 3 because of the age. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think Paul George will be fine long term. I think he will return soon and he will play back to the level that we know he can play in a good kind of way. But I'm a little bit worried just because I don't know when he's coming back. And we have lost 4 out of our last 7 games. And we didn't look good without Paul George against Sacramento. And the Lakers, they're playing better basketball of late. I know they lost to Phoenix, and they've lost 2 out of their last 3. But before the All-Star break, they were starting to, I don't want to say catch stride, but or hit stride, but they were starting to play better. We're coming up. Let's take a deep dive into the Clipper-Laker matchup this year, what we could see in this game. It's going to be a fun one. I was actually able to snag a last-minute ticket because one of my good friends that's in 207 couldn't go, so he canceled and dropped, and the second he did, I snatched it up. So I'll be in the building. Going to be talking about it coming up. This next segment is brought to us by our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest. Big or small, certain things can really start to get to you. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who's unbiased on your life. So today, I want to say how I really feel about something. You might even be thinking about the same thing this week. I'm going to tell you how I really feel about the Clippers winning the Staples Center hallway series against the Lakers in the Staples Center tenure. While it might not be a big deal, it's a huge deal for us because we never would have thought we could have gotten here when we moved into the arena. And you know what? We may not have a banner in the stadium, but I'll take that all day that we beat the Lakers more than they beat us. Therapy can be different for everyone. Most of us have bigger problems than our favorite sports team, and it's important to get things off your chest every once in a while. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible and suited to your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. I got to tell you a little something about Stitch Fix. You know that instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good? That's what I get with Stitch Fix. Easily upgrade your wardrobe this year with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And they send 5 just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and pro styling advice. I keep what works and send back the rest. My stylist always sends just the right pieces and the fit is on point. It's like they have style ESP. I don't know how they do it, but they just get me. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. Stitchfix.com/lockedon. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. All right, Clippers, Lakers, the final one. I'm going to be talking more in depth about that in the final segment, but all right, let's just talk about the Clippers, right? Before we get into the Lakers side of things, because that's the team I watched the second most. 4 losses in our last 7 games. We've started to hit a little bit of a slump. Now, I think a lot of that is the toll of the season the wear and tear of the season taking its toll on our older players' bodies. We lost that game in New Orleans. It was really after the Grammy trip. We lost that game in New Orleans. We beat Detroit barely, and we didn't really play well. Then we lost to Minnesota and got blown out by them. Our best win was at Golden State before the All-Star break without Kawhi Leonard. And then we lost to the Thunder, got absolutely blown out. So we got blown out by the 2 best teams in the conference record-wise in a span of 3 games. And then at Memphis, we had one of the worst performances we've had this season. We won the game because they were so shorthanded, and a pretty bad performance against Sacramento. Now we play the Lakers on ESPN, coming off of these games, and Paul George ain't playing. The first thing I want to start by saying is we should not start Norman Powell. I think we should bring him off the bench to keep that firepower and keep that Russ Norm stuff going. I also think we should go with Tice over Plumlee. Now, here's why I think he may not. Because the Lakers are one of these teams we talk about this season that's big. And we are 1-2 against them this season. Now, granted, that first game, we did not have James Harden after we had made the trades. That was in the days leading up to James Harden arriving. He had just arrived in Los Angeles a day or 2 before, so he didn't play. So our starting lineup was Russ, Bones, Highland, Paul George, Kawhi, and Zoo. So that game, the Lakers won. They had the better squad on that particular night, and that was fine. The second one on the Lakers floor that we lost by a couple where Kawhi Leonard couldn't make a shot. LeBron did a really good job on him that game, and then James Harden had a really bad game as well. That was a rough one. That was one that I wish we could have gotten. And the Lakers played pretty well in that game. Their defense was strong. D'Lo made some big shots in the fourth quarter. And LeBron played pretty well. He had that monster dunk on Paul George. And here's the thing about Bron. We used to have a really, I don't want to say an easy time, but we didn't have a very hard time stopping him when we in this 2-1-3 era, when we had not just Paul and Kawhi, but guys like Nico, Rocco, Marcus Morris. These guys were just bigger bodies that were used to, not allow LeBron to just bully us and get right to the basket. Because the thing about LeBron now is, while he still has a really solid first step for his age and gets to the rim a lot, he's not the speedster he once was. So in the past, when he was young, you used to see teams sag off of LeBron so much to make him shoot from the outside. But now he's gotten a lot better at shooting threes over the years, and he doesn't elevate the same way at the rim, so teams will pressure up into him a little bit more. And that strategy actually worked for us pretty well. We forced them into being a passer, and the Lakers' three-point shooting over the last couple of years hasn't been very strong. So we've gotten what we wanted, and our length has bothered them. And on the other side of things, they had a bunch of small guards guarding our wings. So like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would see Avery Bradley, KCP, Alex Caruso, these guys, Wayne Ellington one year. These guys had no business, Schroeder, guarding those two. But this season, you've seen guys like Taurean Prince, Cam Reddish, Max Christie. So they have better personnel, Jared Vanderbilt when he was healthy, to handle us. And Jared Vanderbilt really annoyed me the last time we played them. That was the game at the Clippers floor where LeBron did not play and we beat them. But I thought that performance, even that one, wasn't the best. It was on January 23rd, so almost a month ago, 127 to 116, we won it. And 5 points in that one. James Harden at 23, Paul George at 17. And yeah, LeBron James didn't play. So we haven't actually beaten them with LeBron this year. So it would be really nice if we did in this game. Now, the news on Wednesday morning, Ivica Zubac and Anthony Davis are questionable with an illness, non-COVID related. So if both of them miss the game, that's okay with me. If AD is out and Zubac is in, we better win. No, honestly, you know what I'm going to say? If AD's out, we better win regardless because their defense without Anthony Davis falls off a cliff. And here's what everyone's going to say. Well, technically, their numbers are better. Defensive rating numbers are better with AD off the floor than when he's on. Okay, let's see them play 20 games without Anthony Davis with Jackson Hayes at the 5 and see how their defensive rating looks. I promise. That stat doesn't match my eye test at all. When I watch the Lakers play, Anthony Davis jumps off the page. To me, he's the best defender in the NBA, if not top 2 or 3. He has the ability to destroy pick and roll single-handedly because he can guard the roller and the ball handler at the same time and take away both options. And he can switch onto the perimeter better than almost any big. And he's an elite rim protector. He does whatever you want in terms of defense in today's game. Now, the one area of weakness for him that doesn't get exploited in this era very much because we don't have many of these guys is post-up centers. Now, Nurkic gave him a little bit of trouble the other day in Phoenix, but are the Clippers willing to give Zubac post touches? Because that's something that they're so hesitant in doing for whatever reason. And I think the main reason is, well, we have James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell, and it's a perimeter game, and post-ups are discouraged these days. It's so lame. I think when you have a guy that's got a really nice, solid right-hand jump hook, and you can throw the ball to him 8 feet from the basket, I think you should try to do that more. But what do I know? The NBA hates post-ups nowadays, unless it's a star player. That's like the rule. Unless you're a star, you can't post up frequently. So I think that's a load of nonsense. But it would be nice to see if Zubac could challenge AD because he weighs a lot more than him, I would assume. He looks a lot bigger. But without Anthony Davis, it needs to be open season trying to get to the rim. And here's one thing that's going to really help the Clippers in this game. No Cam Reddish, no Jared Vanderbilt. And these two guys were part of the reason why those last games were on the harder side. Cam Reddish did a really good job on James Harden in the game that the Lakers beat us last. And in the last game where the Clippers only won by 11 and it was a little shaky till the end, Jared Vanderbilt and Cam Reddish played. And Max Christie. So not having Cam Reddish or Jared Vanderbilt, that's going to really help us. Now, the area of concern for the Clippers is that the Lakers have a lot of size. So when you see them go out with lineups like LeBron, Rui, and AD, that shouldn't be too overwhelming. But who's going to guard LeBron? Is Terrence Mann going to guard him? Because as much as I love Terrence and I think he can harass him for some minutes at a time, he's still on the skinnier side of things. So I think LeBron might be able to post him up. And then you have, that's really the only logical option, unless we go with Paul George. But, he's not playing. You know what we should do? We should start Amir Coffey and have him guard LeBron. That's the best bet. I want Norm coming off the bench for that firepower because he started last game and it felt like we got up to a poor defensive start, poor rebounding start, and he's at fault to a degree. So I think we should start Terrence, Amir, James, Kawhi, and Zoo. If not Zoo, I think we'll start Plumlee and then bring Tice off the bench. And the reason why I'm afraid that Ty will go with Plumlee is because the Lakers are bigger. And with Christian Wood and Anthony Davis playing together, that works for them because Christian Wood can space the floor, and it's two 6'11" guys. And so that's when you think, should the Clippers play Zubac and Tice at the same time? I don't think they're going to lean into that. I think they're going to go with, leaning into our small ball and hoping that we can light them up from deep and win that way. And when we played the Lakers last, we actually shot really well, but our defense was suspect and we lost the rebounding battle, especially the offensive rebounding battle, 13-6. And part of that was Jared Vanderbilt had 6 offensive rebounds by himself. He's not going to be playing in this game. So I think logically we need to win this game with our offense. As crazy as that sounds, we need to win this game with our offense. I don't love our defensive personnel against them. I think you're going to have Zoo guarding Anthony Davis. And AD's been hitting the jumper a lot better this season. And he did hit some of those in that win against us. He really did. Hopefully he doesn't hit them in this one. But it's going to be a tough game. And what worries me is that the Lakers are playing a little bit better lately. They're in the ninth or 10th seed. They keep going back and forth. D'Angelo Russell's playing really well over the last month or two. And, you know how it goes. There's going to be a lot of Laker fans, probably 50-50, if not more. But coming up, going to be talking more about that. The game itself, the atmosphere, the ambiance. It's the last one at Staples Center with the Clippers home floor against the Lakers. My prediction for the game, Clippers going to win by 9 points. Coming up, going to talk more about the last one. I got to tell you a little something about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you are into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. All right, so let's talk about it. The Clippers and the Lakers face each other for the final time at the Staples Center as co-tenants. I am not going to lie. This is kind of an emotional one. For me. This is my first stadium. It is the first time that I have ever seen a stadium. It's my first stadium. I've grown up with Lakers and Clippers sharing an arena, and I loved it, honestly. I love that you can go to 2 basketball games in the same stadium and see a totally different experience, a totally different ambiance, totally different colors. I think it's really cool. Now, these games always stress me out. For a while, after like 2008, I refused to go to them. I didn't go back to a Lakers-Clippers game until 2022, so 14 years, because I just don't like how many Laker fans come, and they really stress me out. My blood pressure gets really high, and I get like super amped up. I don't like that because I try to keep my stress levels down, but it makes me really angry. The last time I went in 2022. There's a vlog of that game on my channel. We smacked them up. That was like peak Russ playing awful. And Reggie Jackson was lighting them up. We were chanting Reggie. It was so satisfying. We absolutely knocked the snot out of them. So I'm hoping for a repeat of the same. I'm obviously going to be in section 207 tonight, so surrounded by my people, which is going to be so cool because we did debut 207 against the Lakers for the first time last game, and I thought it was great because it was the first time I watched a game in a while against the Lakers, and I was like, doesn't sound like as many Laker fans as usual. It doesn't look like it either. I think it was about 50-50 last time, if not maybe. I can't think. It was probably wasn't probably more Clipper fans. Maybe 55-45 Clippers, but I think it was probably 50-50. But we'll see how this game goes. When LeBron James plays, that makes a difference because it's not just the Laker fans showing up. It's the people that want to see LeBron, his fanboys too. So I think my prediction is 55-45 Laker advantage tonight. But having 207, I could really hear them because like when they're going to boo Kawhi or whoever, is shooting free throws for the Clippers, we're going to have to be loud, starting MVP chants. Just let them know, the people on TV, this is our home game. We got fans. contrary to popular belief. But what makes me really happy is that no matter what happens in this game, even though we need to win this game, we have won the series 50-47 at the Staples Center. 50-47. And one of those wins for the Lakers came in the bubble in that first game when the season resumed. So that's amazing that the Clippers have won that series against them. I really think it's amazing. I know that what the Laker fans are going to say, well, we won what matters, banners, and you're right about that. I'm not saying the Clippers are a better franchise or more successful in the building, but I'm saying that we have beaten you more times in the building than you've beaten us. And I think that's cool. I'll take some pride in that. It just shows how far we've come. Going into the stadium, did you ever think you could say that? Never in a trillion years. Even 10 years into the stadium, did you ever think we could say that? No. We'd get our ass kicked by Kobe and Shaq all the time. And obviously, I was a little bit young for Shaq and Kobe, but Kobe used to destroy us. And, oh, man, it feels crazy that we've dominated him that much that we have won more at this point. But it's going to be emotional. I've been to 2006. I went to a Clipper-Laker home game. I've never went to a Clipper-Laker home game at Staples Center on the Lakers floor. But that's something I can still do for the future. And I'm going to do it one day. But I went to 2006 Clippers, Lakers, and Clippers floor. I went to an 2007 one. I went to an 2008 one and 2022. So this will be my fifth and final at the Staples Center. We are 2-2 against them in the games I've been to. So we'll see who wins the tiebreaker, my tiebreaker. But we got to win it, man. It's the last time playing them in this building. Let's remind them who's won more. Let's finish them off. We're the better team this year. We need to win 2 games. 2 losses in a row would be terrible. And, 3 out of the last 4 L's after the All-Star break would be really bad as well. One of the teams is going to face that after tonight. Either the Lakers are going to have lost 3 out of the last 4 since the All-Star break or the Clippers. And we have bigger goals than them this year, in my opinion. So we need to be the one that wins. We'll see what happens in terms of Zubac and Anthony Davis. But, damn, man, I can't believe this is it. Intuit Dome. Going to take it all in. And I'm going to have a video on my channel on Thursday. So if you are in attendance tonight, please find me, be in my video. I welcome you, or just say hi. After the game, I will be doing post-game interviews outside of the arena, across the street from Kareem's statue to the left of the Tom's front entrance. And before the game, if you arrive early enough, I want to say 45 minutes before game time, I'm going to try to get there. I will be around the Kobe statue on the street. So like right in front of it, doing some interviews before the game. So please find me. This is a huge night for my channel, huge night for Locked On Clippers, and huge night for the Clippers in Los Angeles. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell, and let me know your score prediction in the comments. The age-old proverb continues. I will see you guys tonight. Go Clippers.